Welcome to the Outer Dark. I'm Dylan Hamilton, your host and keeper of arcane lore for Call of Cthulhu. It is Masks of Nyarlathotep, Campaign 1, Episode 1, A Meeting at Bar Cordano. Bar Cordano being the place, all our investigators will be meeting for the first time to set off this globe-trotting epic adventure. We'll be playing standard Call of Cthulhu 7th edition rules, but I might fudge it and some pulp content might slip in. I haven't quite decided yet. Strike that. Reverse it. There will be pulp content. Apologies in advance, players. You're just going to have to contend with it when you get dropped into the situation. A little bit of background before we get going, for those of you who are unfamiliar with Call of Cthulhu. It is a tabletop role-playing game, not unlike Dungeons & Dragons, in which the players and I will roll dice to overcome various checks, but it's got a stronger emphasis on horror, mystery, and role-playing. And instead of fantasy heroes, the players will take the roles of investigators, just regular people thrust into situations that they can't control. It is based on the works of H.P. Lovecraft and the Cthulhu mythos, so horror is a very big element here. There's actually a mechanic in the game for sanity, so when the players come across terrible things, mutilations, cult sacrifices, or just unexplainable monsters from beyond, they'll have to make checks, and there's a possibility that they could go insane. Masks of Nyarlathotep, this campaign in particular, is kind of known to be a meat grinder. It is also considered to be the quintessential campaign for Call of Cthulhu. It was originally published in 1984, but just last year it was updated for 7th edition, and it includes a brand new chapter set in Peru in 1921. And it kind of serves as an introductory prologue to the campaign that actually takes place 4 years later. While it is optional, we have elected to play it, seeing as how this is our first ever campaign in any system ever, and we're very excited to get going and showing you all what this is about and kind of learning it as we go along. Before we start, why don't we take a moment to introduce our investigators. First up is Leslie Visser, the deep sea diver, played by Kory Banning. Say hello, Kory.
Hello, Kory. Leslie is a wild card in a nutshell. He's highly intelligent, way more so than people would ever guess, but he's a savant. He's an amateur treasure hunter, pre-Jacques Cousteau. He goes out with his buddy Arno on their boat. They co-own it together. Leslie owns 10%, but if you ask Arno, it's way less. Both from South Africa, and Arno is the one who drives the boat. Leslie's the one who dives.
Next is the wayward dilettante, Camilla May, played by Justin Hamot.
Alright, so I'm Justin, and I'm going to be playing Camilla May, and she is a dilettante from Manhattan, New York. She's kind of like she just has kind of an expertise in more an unconventional, high-class lifestyle.
We also have the lost longshoreman, Roger Lynch, played by Lampke.
Okay, I play Roger Lynch. He was born in the United States. He's relatively well educated by choice, but he works on the docks where he also lives in a small hut that the harbor master kind of just gave him, and he does it just for a place to stay and a little bit of cash. He does that based on circumstances of his past.
And recently famed explorer John Michael Stevens, played by Cameron Mascari.
So my guy's name is John Michael Stevens, 26-year-old explorer from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Traveled to Alaska for a little bit, just looking forward to creating a character that I love and then having O kill him again.
Last but not least, for now anyway, we have the doctoral candidate in archaeology from Miskatonic University, Benjamin Brock, played by O'Ray Nealon.
Benjamin Brock is 17. He's lived his entire life without having legs, and so he pushes himself to overcome obstacles. A lot of the time it goes with using his mind to solve problems. He is from Massachusetts. He went to Miskatonic University. His parents paid for the whole thing. He comes from a very rich family. He'd withheld the information that he was going to be traveling out into the unknown.
So without further ado, let's get started. Campaign 1, Episode 1, A Meeting at Bar Cordano. You were standing in the dimly lit corridor of a hotel. Ahead of you is a door bearing the number 410. As you knock, you hear a muffled cry and movement like shuffling feet within. A sense of foreboding grips you as you search the faces of your companions. Something terrible lies within. With but a moment of hesitation, you rush into room 410 to find what lies within, and your destiny. 4 years ago, Lima, Peru. March 18th, 1921 is a Friday. And in Peru, it's late summer, early autumn, so the days are balmy, but as evening approaches, it cools off and is quite pleasant. It's about 6:45 p.m., and in 15 minutes, 5 members of Augustus Larkin's expedition are due to arrive at Bar Cordano, a restaurant in Lima district. That's you guys. Now, you either heard of this expedition through the Associated Press or another academic institution and thereby reached out to Larkin to secure a place. Or, in the case of some of you, were reached out to by Larkin directly for your individual skills or experience. From your understanding, after the discovery of a number of gold artifacts in the region, Larkin believes he's located the site of a pyramid long forgotten by history. With the promise of wealth, adventure, and not to mention the historical, cultural, and academic impact of such a discovery, you all make your way to Peru, to Lima, to Bar Cordano. About 5 minutes from Bar Cordano, a man is stepping off a tram that he rode in from the docks. This man is Roger Lynch. Lucas, would you like to describe your character?
Oh, I'm writing my name down like I don't know who I am. My character is 6'3", dark brown hair, green eyes. He's got kind of a scruffy beard. His hair is kind of unkempt, but like about shoulder height. He kind of has it like the top half tied behind his head. I don't want to say like an elf because he's not an elf, and I don't want you to think about that the whole time.
Like a man bun?
Yeah, kind of like a longer man bun. He's a white guy with a slight tan. He's wearing one of those old school like sailor shirts that have like the stripes. You guys know what I'm talking about? Like the black stripes or the blue stripes with like the white shirt. It's kind of go like the small like thin ones that go across. And he's wearing like older like tattered tan trousers with like workman's boots, backpack on his shoulder, and he's carrying what appears to be like a walking stick that's around 6 feet high. Basically like a staff, I guess, at that point to some of you guys. So that's about it.
As you're walking the streets, kind of tapping along with your walking stick, you're keeping your head down. The streets are bustling. Everyone's out of work, getting a drink with their friends, unwinding before the weekend. You used to have a life like this, but it's been a while. You feel the weight of the envelope in your pocket and the weight of it on your soul. You've read it several times, but probably not enough. Soon, though, you find yourself outside Bar Cordano, where the front door is propped open, letting the heady smell of beer, hops, and fresh seafood out into the streets. There's a small entryway and then another door. And when you enter, you're met with the tang of smoke and beer. There's a stand where a host would normally seat you, but that's empty at the moment. And beyond, there's a simple but tastefully furnished room, tile floor, wood furnishings, several high-top tables. People are standing there having a good time. There's a wet bar that stretches the entire length of the left wall. And to your right, there's a shallow staircase, can't be more than 3 or 4 steps, down into a receded, more formal dining area. It looks mostly empty at the moment.
Do I know what Augustus Larkin looks like?
You know that he's white.
Okay. I'm gonna go up to the bar.
There's a bartender back there with kind of hairy arms doing brisk business, turning drinks over to various patrons and waiters, and he comes over to you. ¿Qué puedo traerte de beber? Whiskey? Ginebra?
Vaso de whiskey, por favor.
Sí. Takes him less than 30 seconds to uncork and pour you 2 fingers and set the glass in front of you.
I want to pause for a moment at the bar with my drink, and I reach inside my pocket and grab an envelope that I have. My hands are kind of like shaking a little bit. I open the envelope, and it's already been opened. I open it, I start reading it again. And I start to get a little nervous but hopeful at the same time. I take a sip of my drink. I fold the paper back up, put it in the envelope, put it back in my pocket. I grab my drink and find the closest white guys I can find, I guess.
As you stow the envelope in your pocket and begin looking around the bar for the closest white guys, you hear the bar door open again, and in walks a striking young black woman. This is Camilla May. Justin, would you like to describe your character?
As I walk in, I'm wearing kind of like tan pants and like a tan vest with like dark brown boots, and then I have like dark brown like leather 3/4 gloves, tall, kind of like caramel skin, strong shoulders, and I have like an outrageous hat that's like tilted to the side.
Yeah, my imagination just goes crazy with that. I was thinking like a fruit basket.
Del Mar racetrack meets safari.
Okay, I get you.
After a moment, you do see crawling up from my back onto my shoulder a little mink that is dark brown, and he's kind of just sitting on my shoulder, kind of scanning the room.
What was it, a mink?
That's so cool.
Like we made like a coat out of?
This is a live mink, though. This is.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, I just was curious. If it plays dead, it becomes a scarf.
A waiter with a passing tray kind of eyes you and your mink and goes, No se admiten animales. No animals.
Oh, I'm sorry. No animals. I'll be sure to let you know if I see one.
He kind of just stutters and sighs as you brush past him and move your way further into the bar. What would you like to do?
Well, it's summertime, right? It's pretty warm out. I'd like to get a refreshing beer from the bar, so I'm going to walk over to the bar.
While you're standing up from the bar, Roger, the woman approaches and takes the stool next to you, and the mink on her shoulder hisses in your ear like some deranged badger.
I kind of jut back for a second because I don't notice it right away.
I'll just hit him on the nose. Oh, stop it.
I'll back away as it hisses, and I'll walk away behind her, muttering to myself, "I thought there were no animals."
I'm sorry. Did you say something?
Huh? No, I didn't say anything. I like your cat or mink or whatever the hell it is.
At this moment, the bar door opens again, and in walks Leslie Visser. Kory, would you like to describe your character?
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's about 6'4". He's a thick man for a swimmer. His hands are huge and scarred from all the diving, random scrapes on his arms. He's wearing a short sleeve button up, and it's summertime, so he's got, it's not buttoned up all the way. He's wearing some shorts and some, light shoes. And he steps around uncomfortably in because he's not used to wearing them. Hair's pretty short and almost fades up into a very small mohawk.
Great. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm in a bar, so I'll go to the bar, get a drink.
So I'll glance over, acknowledging you, but I'm not going to actually initiate a conversation. I'm just going to kind of give you a look over and then go back to my beer.
Hey, miss, what you drinking?
I'm just trying to get this cold, refreshing beer down, but apparently they don't believe in refrigeration around here because things warm.
It's 1921 in Peru. What you got on your shoulder? What is that?
Oh, this is Bernard.
Bernard. Nice. I have a tortoise named Boris. You should meet him.
Boris. Oh, I'm sure Boris and Bernard would be great for him.
Yeah, he's not too friendly though. He snaps.
Well, let me warn you, Bernard isn't very friendly either.
Is there a peanut on the bar I could give to him?
Yeah, there's a crystal bowl of mixed nuts on the bar.
I want to take that bowl of nuts and I want to hand it up to Bernard and see if he takes any.
As you're lifting the bowl, you see something in Bernard that you've seen in a lot of crazy animals in the past. His nose and whiskers are twitching, and you can't tell if he's just curious or if he's about to pounce. Why don't you go ahead and give me a dexterity roll? First roll of the game.
First roll of the game.
First roll again. Alright.
Camilla's pet kills someone in the first 10 minutes.
I got a 41.
Okay, so as you're lifting the bowl, he starts to get curious and he reels back, but you notice what he's going to do. So you close your fist around the bowl and pull it away from him. And he's kind of just left there dumbfounded. And he kind of reels back and stares at you, kind of recoils back on Camilla's shoulder a little bit, kind of giving you the stink eye.
Boris does the same thing. Hey, miss, is that beer any good?
Yeah, despite the temperature, it's pretty refreshing. You know what? Excuse my pet. Let me get that for you.
What? Get what? What do you?
Your drink, your beer.
I did. So it's all right.
He'll have a beer. He'll have a beer.
Okay, I'll get a beer.
I just order for him.
Okay. While the bartender is fetching the beer for Leslie, Roger, what are you up to?
You said there was that formal area. I was going to go down that way and just see if any one of them happens to be who I'm looking for.
On your way down into the dining area, you see 3 men occupying a table in the corner. The man with his back to you is gesturing emphatically with a smoking pipe in his right hand. He's black, wearing a tweed jacket and a faded gray fedora. He's speaking to the man at the head of the table. This man is white, wearing a linen suit and matching pants, though both seem to be loosely fitted. He's got blonde hair that's slightly oily and swept back from the forehead. He looks young, but even from here you can tell that he has crow's feet beyond his ears and deep bags under his eyes. Perhaps the side effect of the heat down here, or maybe lack of sleep. The third, with his back to the wall and facing the restaurant, is pale white. He's gaunt, and he's got high cheekbones, stark black hair, and piercing blue eyes. And they've been locked on you ever since you set foot on the staircase. He has his arms crossed, and he's watching you approach. When it's clear you're coming toward them, he nudges the man in the linen jacket and gestures to you with a nod. His 2 companions both look over to you, expectantly. The man in the tweed jacket takes a draw from his pipe and lifts his eyebrows, giving you a once-over, while the other stands to greet you. You must be Mr. Lynch. Pleasure to meet you at last, Augustus Larkin.
Yes, sir, that's me. It's good to finally meet you, Mr. Larkin, and your group here. I'll have a seat over here if you don't mind.
The black man looks to be a little older than the other 2, although not quite into middle age yet. Hello there, I'm Jesse Hughes. Pleased to meet you. I didn't catch your name. What was it?
Oh, my name's Roger Lynch.
He swaps hands with his pipe in order to shake yours.
Good to meet you, sir. And then Roger shakes Jesse's hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, Augustus. I didn't mean to step on any toes. That's all right, Jesse. You're just enthusiastic. Tell me, Mr. Lynch, how was your trip over? I understand you've been staying in Lima for some time now.
Yeah, I kind of forgot how long, but yeah, it was fine. I've been here before.
Good. Hopefully the others haven't gotten lost. If they can't find a bar in Lima, I doubt there'll be much use when it comes to hunting a lost ruin. He pulls his silver pocket watch and flicks it open, regarding it with apparent disdain. We have some time yet, though. The gaunt man opposite you shifts in his seat and grumbles under his breath. How rude of me. This is Louis de Mendoza, my personal aide.
Mr. Mendoza.
Hola.
So Roger kind of, as he's sitting, he's kind of looking around the table, and something is in the back of his mind where something feels wrong, like something feels a little off here. When he came back to the table, they kind of stopped talking when he came up, and it just didn't seem right to him. Dylan, is there like a roll for that? Can I roll something for that?
Why don't you give me a psychology roll?
All right. I rolled a 12. I'm not gonna push. I don't want to just spend it without. I mean, it's not gonna matter at this point.
Okay, well, you can tell that there's some unspoken tension at play here, though you can't tell its source. Back upstairs, a fourth investigator is arriving just in time. This is John Michael Stevens. Cameron, do you want to introduce your character?
Yeah, he's like muscular, but not like a bodybuilder, just like as like a hiker or climber. He's wearing like a wife beater and then like jeans, like worn hiking boots. He's got a baseball cap on and a backpack. He's blue eyes, white guy, scruff of a beard, brown hair. Like to approach the bar.
The bartender comes over to you. Puedo ayudar?
Excuse me, sir. Do you know where Augustus Larkin is? He reached out to me. I'm trying to find this man.
El hombre blanco de la chaqueta grande? He's downstairs in the corner. You can't miss him.
Okay, I'll approach the foreman.
As you descend the steps, John, you see one of the men at the table get up, and you overhear him say, "Pardon me, I just have to go to the restroom and splash some water on my face. I'll be right back." Larkin enters the hallway in the back and vanishes from sight.
Excuse me, gents. I'm looking for Mr. Larkin. You know where I can find him?
Oh yeah, he just went to the bathroom.
Do you mind if I join you? We'll wait till he comes back.
Of course. Have a seat.
If you want to have a seat, I'm Roger Lynch.
John Michael Stevens.
It's good to meet you.
Oh, I'm Jesse Hughes, by the way, and that simmering chap over there is Mendoza.
Did Larkin reach out to you as well?
Oh, on the contrary, I reached out to him. Quite excited to get underway with this. How about you?
Yeah, actually, I don't know much about it. He reached out to me. I'm a bit of an explorer myself, and it seemed tempting to get away from the snow up in Alaska, so I figured it's time to try something new, so I went down.
Fascinating. The Yukon Territory. Yeah, I'm something of an explorer myself, but I've never been up that way. Too harsh a land, I'm afraid. I couldn't survive 2 days having to boil snow for my water. How long were you up there?
I was up there for a few years, just exploring and traveling and trying to learn new things and find interesting things.
Maybe I'll get up there one day yet. Who knows? What about you, Mr. Lynch? I don't detect much of an accent. East Coast U.S., maybe California. Safe to say you travel a lot, too?
Well, yeah, I traveled a bit, worked on boats here and there, and tried to make a living, doing transportation, but it didn't work out. So I'm here. I guess just hoping one day I'll get to go back.
Well, maybe one day you will. Hasn't changed much in your absence. Ain't no place in the world a man can start anew quite like the US of A. At this point, Larkin emerges from the back hallway, and instead of returning to the table, crosses the room and trots up the stairs before addressing the room at large. Anyone here for the expedition?
Hi, man. Yeah, I think that's it's me. Are you Augie?
In the flesh. You must be Mr. Visser. Long way from Africa, aren't we?
I focus on vigorously.
Why don't you give me a spot hidden roll while you're shaking his hand?
I sure will. 24.
In your eagerness, you're kind of loosening his already loose sleeve, and it kind of slides up his arm a little bit, and it exposes his wrist, and you notice that his veins are miscolored, almost dark. Like darker than they should be. Not black, but it's very noticeable.
Oh, man. What's wrong with your hand? Did you hurt yourself?
Long-term effects of malaria. Nothing to envy, nothing to cure. Afraid it will always be with me. But don't worry, chap. It's not contagious.
Want me to take a look at it?
I thought you were a diver, not a doctor. I'll regale the team. I'll be comforted to have a medical expert on the trail with us.
I've patched myself up a few times. See this? Put this on the coral, and I show my leg. It's a big scar. It goes from like mid calf to mid thigh, like when it kind of serpentines around the knee.
Good lord. Close encounter with a reef, eh?
Well, yeah. It was a bit of a mess. Diving for something, got caught. Nobody on him, saw something in the distance, decided to take off in the boat.
Well, you seem more than capable, Mr. Visser. I'll give you that. But this is a malady that requires more than stitches.
Yeah, but I stitched it myself. You see, I tried to do my initiative.
I must say, I've been interested for some time to hear why a deep-sea diver would volunteer for a trek into the Andean highlands.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I am kind of a fish out of water, but I just want the adventure. I want my name on that.
Well, I can't fault you for that. It's how I make my living these days, matter of fact. Hunting down treasures and the like. And if we see this thing through, Visser, we'll both have more than stories to take home with us, I can promise you that. Larkin looks around the room at this point and spots you, Camilla, at the bar, and makes his way over to you. Taps you lightly on the shoulder. Excuse me, is that you, Miss May?
Oh, yes, are you Augustus?
Wonderful. We're just seated at a table over yonder, if you'd care to join us.
Oh, of course. Me and Bernard will be right over.
Bernard, you made no mention of him in your course book. Oh, I see. Well, come, the more the merrier. Back at the table, Jesse Hughes has revealed that he's a folklorist from New York and has been talking at length on the subject for some time now. All the while, Mendoza has been nursing the same 3 fingers of gin and remaining stoic and uninterested in conversing. That's the interesting thing about folklore. On a local level, it can get quite specific, but when you broaden the scope, you're left with large cultural divisions. But you can find the same stories, at least on a spiritual and even allegorical level, all throughout the world. The story of Christ, indeed, is not unique when compared to Buddhist or Islamic scriptures. It's ideas at their core, really. I can't wait to see what Larkin's uncovered. Hello. Speak of the devil and he shall appear. We were just talking about how thrilled we are to see what you've uncovered, Larkin. You're not the only ones, believe me. Now, we're only waiting on one more, but it's after 7 o'clock, so we best get started. Now, I'm sure you all have a lot of questions. I've been waiting for this for a very long time myself, but I'm famished. May I suggest we order? We can get to know each other a little better over some good food and drink. I recommend the ceviche. It's very good. He summons a waiter with a snap of his fingers as you all go around the table ordering and settle in for introductions. And after the first and second round of drinks are under your belts and the food you've ordered starts to arrive, and you're all polishing near empty plates, you hear the door upstairs open again and the bell jingle. And then you hear the heavy footfalls of a man approaching, groaning floorboards under his feet. When you look up, you see a tall, broad-shouldered man with long arms. He's bald. He's got a big scar over his right eye, and his face looks like it's stuck in a permanent scowl. He's white, and he's coming straight for you guys. Larkin notices this and perks up, and he wipes some grease away from his lips with a cloth napkin. Mr. Brock, I presume. Decided to join us at long last, eh? No real harm done. We were just about to get down to brass tacks. The man stops before you all. Kind of looks across the table. And he sighs. Oh, would you like to introduce yourself?
The large man turns around, and suspended from his back in a sort of
child carrier backpack is a pale boy of no more than 17 years old who has no legs. He's got curly blonde hair and thick Coke bottle glasses that make his eyes look like golf balls. He's wearing a red vest with black stitching and floral designs on it over a white button-up that's cuffed at the forearms, and an ugly bow tie colored red, white, and maroon. Like plaid, it's it's hideous. He's beaming down at all of you, clearly delighted, as the large man unhooks the carrier, swings the boy, and plops him down in the nearest open chair. Hello, everyone. My name is Mr. Brock, and I'm very excited to meet you all. But first, I need to know, is Mr. Augustus Larkin here?
That would be me.
Okay, no offense, but what the fuck is this? What is this child doing
I
here?
beg your pardon?
You're the same Mr. Brock I reached out to at Miskatonic, the archaeologist.
Yes, Mr. Larkin. I believe you read some of my papers on South American artifacts, and that is why you reached out to me.
Well, who'd you bring with you? Who's the scary guy?
Oh, don't mind Eugene. He's just my assistant.
The name's Eugene. What are you fellas drinking? Next round's on me. Tequila. All right, yep, sounds good to me.
And then he marches up
Why
to
don't
the
we
bar.
take Eugene along with us and leave the rod back? It looks like a, wind might knock him over and kill him, man. Isn't this supposed to be dangerous?
Oh, don't you worry. Eugene will be carrying me the entire way.
We will be enjoying each other's company for the better part of a month. The trek from Puno into the highlands will be at least 3 days. He's going to carry you the entire way.
He's been carrying me this far.
When Eugene comes back, he's not carrying like a tray of drinks, but it looks like he's carrying like a bunch of shots. And he catches the end of everybody razzing Benjamin, and he roughly sets them down on the table.
The kid's here, isn't he? That ought to be enough. You don't know us. Let us worry about ours. Otherwise, keep your trap shut.
Mendoza eyes Eugene coldly at this and just goes, huh. And Eugene glares right back.
You keep glowering at me like that, I'll knock those eyes right out of your head, mister.
That's not necessary, Eugene. I think it was just a misunderstanding.
We're just reasonably concerned. He didn't tell you about his condition, Augustus? He made no mention of it in his letters. Suffice to say, I would not have invited him had I known.
Oh, Benji, you didn't tell me you didn't tell him about your condition. God damn it.
I felt no need to mention my current condition, as I believe my skills would be quite the asset to your expedition.
Hey, I'm sorry, kid. I don't mean to give you a hard time. I'm sure you're a smart kid, but I don't mean to be mean. I just don't know if it could be a liability. That's all I was trying to say.
It's fine. First impressions are never good.
If they can manage on their own, I don't see why they can't come along. Yeah, I'm sure that he has something to offer beyond physical prowess, I guess. You said that you'd written some papers. Concerning what?
Ah, yes, my research papers. One was on the Peruvian gold found in 1885. I've been studying artifacts and attending Miskatonic. I'll actually be writing about this expedition for my continued studies. I nearly have my doctorate, in fact. The history of this region is very fascinating to me.
While you're mid-explanation about your research papers, Benjamin, you see for the first time a brown mink kind of scurry up onto Camilla's shoulder, holding a little nut that he's like kind of rotating in his paws and chewing on.
Oh my goodness, is that a mink? What breed is it? You must tell me.
Oh, I see you spotted Bernard, yes.
Will that animal be coming with us too?
That what? I'm sorry?
Oh, Bernard, right? Yeah. Will Bernard be joining us?
Oh, Bernard, yes. Bernard will be joining us. You said you're from New York, is that right? I happen to be from Manhattan myself. Where is it in New York you're from?
I might have misspoke before. I'm not actually from New York, though I do spend a fair amount of time there. You see, I'm something of a world traveler, spending time in various hotels, exotic locales. I'm very used to this sort of life, actually. But I was born and raised in Stratford, Connecticut.
Oh, very good. You know, I like you.
Well, part of my saying so, but you seem to be a woman of means, and Well, what are you doing down here? If you could do anything with your time, why volunteer for this expedition?
Well, I'm just looking for a little adventure. I've taken up photography as kind of a hobby, and my parents want me to do this and that, but I feel like I just needed to do this for myself.
I never knew my folks, but I do understand that. Wanting to get out from under somebody's thumb, I mean. Yeah, my old editor was a real tough bastard. Pardon my French. At some point, the waiter who had served the others wanders by, and he spots you and Eugene Benjamin. Would you like anything to eat?
Do you have applesauce?
My fingers like on my temple, like I'm just like really frustrated and like kind of muttering under my breath.
If you actually gotta have applesauce, I would like some as well.
I like you. What is your name?
Oh, hey, I'm Leslie.
Hi, Leslie. My name is Mr. Brock.
Mr. Brock, nice to meet you.
Roger's on his third drink now.
You've been kind of quiet over there, Roger. How about you? Why are you interested in this expedition?
Information has come out that I kind of have to go do something. So I need money to leave here.
You shan't worry there. I believe we'll all become very wealthy, should our endeavor prove successful.
Yeah, what exactly are we doing?
Now that's the golden question, isn't it? How will we be remembered? A year from now? 10 or 100? What discoveries are to be had? Indeed, what riches? I don't have answers to those questions, Mr. Lynch, but I do have knowledge. I believe I've found the location of a pyramid in the highlands beyond Lake Titicaca, the site of which may have gone undisturbed for centuries. Imagine that wealth, the cultural significance, everything we could unearth there. That's how they'll remember us. Even Eugene, who's been kind of buried in food for the last several minutes, is looking at Larkin in anticipation. Guts and glory aside, Augustus, how exactly are we going to do this? Yes, I suppose you'll be wanting something more tangible. Given the size of our group and the amount of equipment we'll be bearing, I've leased the use of 3 trucks. We'll depart Lima via convoy Monday morning, bound for the small town of Puno on the shores of the lake. From then on, it's simply one foot in front of the other. In most our cases, anyway.
It's a bit of a trick. What makes you so sure about all of these? I mean, doing this big excursion, all up in the mountains. Probably get all sweaty.
Louis, be a dear, fetch my bag.
Si, comandante. Mendoza leans over on the booth beside him and lifts the fold of a woven Peruvian blanket to reveal a satchel underneath, which he picks up gingerly and hands over to Larkin.
I purchased some curiosities from an alpaca farmer in Puno. Said his grandfather discovered them in a tunnel beneath a pyramid, the likes of which none of them had ever seen before.
He opens the flap of the bag and produces 2 cloth-wrapped objects from the inside and places them both carefully on the table in front of him. He smiles, almost for dramatic effect, and lifts the cloth and reveals 2 gold artifacts. One is a golden chalice, the other is some sort of pendant.
Oh my goodness. Eugene, fetch me that cup.
I'm gonna grab the shiny one. Leslie's gonna grab one.
Before Eugene can comply, Leslie snatches the chalice.
Well, okay,
And taking a closer look at it, Leslie, you can tell it's made of solid gold, though it's lost a lot of its luster. Not quite polished, it's kind of dusty. But it's inlaid with geometric patterns all around its circumference. And it's inlaid with turquoise gemstones.
This reminds me, something I've always wanted to do. And so Leslie takes his beer and he pours it into the cup, and then he takes a drink out. Oh man!
You chose poorly. No, it's fine. It's just really old.
What the devil are you doing? That's centuries old.
I thought it'd taste better. Guess I was wrong.
After you finish the drink and set it down, Jesse gingerly takes it from you and starts examining it, kind of hemming his pipe, Larkin rubs his forehead. Someone remind me not to put Mr. Visser in charge of the spelunking when we get to the pyramid.
Larkin, do you have any more of these? I'd like to collect the whole set.
There was only 2. It was random chance I happened across that farmer to begin with as well.
Puno's just a livestock town. Somebody starts waving gold around, it's going to draw attention. You're telling me they didn't go up and take the rest of it?
Well, that's where it gets a little sensational. You know how these rural people can be. Chalk it up to superstition, but they said the site was cursed or some nonsense. Has no real basis in fact. The point of the matter is they were simply too terrified to return. I've had them appraised, they're worth quite
I'm sure
a
he
bit.
couldn't keep a thing like that a secret.
Even if only a fraction remains from what once was, we'll be very wealthy indeed.
Wealthy or esteemed?
Don't misunderstand me, Mr. Stevens. There's more than money to be had from such discoveries. The truth is, it's all our good luck to be the first professional expedition to bring the pyramid's riches and stories to the outside world. That's what matters. But I believe there's more to be had there. Eugene finishes chewing what he was eating and reaches across the table for that pendant and hands it over to you, Benjamin.
Thank you, Eugene. Okay, so I'm gonna look and see if I can recognize anything on that.
Yeah, that's gonna be an archaeology roll. From what you can see now readily, it is a pendant. It's gold, in the shape of a man holding 2 rods or perhaps staves.
Let me see here. That is a 58.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna share what you know privately, so you guys don't have to hear me explain what's in Benjamin's head.
Fascinating. You said these were both retrieved from this pyramid?
Insofar as I know, that's what the farmer told me,
Well,
at least.
From what I can tell, these are from 2 different periods entirely, and of different design. This pendant here appears to be 5th century Tiwanaku. It's pre-Columbian, originating around western Bolivia near Lake Titicaca, I believe. If we're in the area, I'd actually love to go and see the Gate of the Sun. But, this other one is Incan, most certainly. It's obvious, really, but very rare. The conquistadors melted down most of the gold they found and sent it back to Spain. Fascinating, and definitely not used to drink beer.
See, young Brock's proving his keep already. That is curious, though. Wonder how they ended up at the same place.
Perhaps the people that put them there were pillagers. Maybe it was like a cache for, their treasure or something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, why is your friend there? Why is he so quiet? Does he have anything to add to this conversation?
Yes, I'm sure you've noticed his rather stoic nature. What do you have to say for yourself, Louis? There is nothing for me to add.
Jeez, who is this guy?
All right, then.
I've taken out a journal, and I'm scribbling furiously into it, also sketching and noting the artifacts Larkin showed us.
Hearing from a man who's heard from another man probably crazier than he is isn't really concrete evidence. It could all be a lark. Do you have anything else? Like, do you have charts or maps or anything like that? I mean, anything more than just hearsay?
You'll think me foolish, but I've destroyed it all. Burned it, in fact.
So you burned the papers. What if we need to look at them in the future?
If you don't know where you're going, that could be a death sentence. I mean, we could go into the wrong direction for 3 days, and then we got to double back, and that's twice as much time we now have to spend out in the wilderness.
Being really foolish.
For some time now, I've been fearful of enterprising archaeologists stealing it and gaining a march on our expedition. Given that word of the pyramid has gone far and wide in the press, anyone could be mounting a competing expedition. I just couldn't take the risk. But don't worry, it's all up here. And then he taps his temple with his forefinger.
If something has to happen to you, then what are we supposed to do?
In the instance that I fall off a rock, I presume that you're all intelligent enough to find your way back to Puno, or even forge on without me. I do have some contacts in Puno who may be able to assist you, but I don't intend on going anywhere.
Though I do concede that some supplementary research could be helpful. If you wish to assist in that regard, you can always visit the University of San Marcos over the weekend. Perform whatever researches you may deem applicable.
That's someone else's job as far as I'm concerned.
But I must insist it does not affect our departure. Plan to leave no later than 8 a.m. on Monday morning. I'll provide everything that we need. But if you decide to pick up anything special, I might be convinced to reimburse you if I deem it appropriate, and of course if you manage to hold on to your receipts.
Can I have $10?
That's not how reimbursement works, Visser. What do you even need it for?
Expenses.
I think I might be able to cover you, old sport, but you'll have to pay me back. Jesse pulls out his billfold, then gives you a crisp $10 bill.
I'll take care of that. Thank you.
No problem at all. I got the rest of my currency converted. I doubt anybody will even take that around here.
So where are we meeting at 8 a.m. on Monday?
You can meet us at the Hotel España. That's where we're staying. Try to be there by 7:30 so Mendoza can double-check the manifest.
Okay.
I can't wait! Eugene, we're off to the University Museum.
What's that? Eugene looks up from the beer that he was deep into, and his eyes kind of lull for a second, like he's well and proper soused. Right now? Ain't it a little late for that, Benji? I ain't sure how long the museums are open down here, but it's like 8:30.
Oh. Well, very well. We'll just wait around until tomorrow, then.
And these damn flies.
Larkin swats a plump fly with the back of his hand and wipes it off the table. Could I get a spot hidden roll from everyone, please?
34.
70.
97.
81.
Or 87.
I got a 36.
Okay, so Leslie and Roger, you guys noticed this. Over the course of dinner, Larkin was getting progressively sweatier, almost like overheated. His hair kind of became more and more disheveled. Every night he had to sweep his hand through it to try to keep it in place. And he's just looking suddenly very exhausted.
Are you feeling all right, Mr. Larkin?
This heat doesn't sit well with me. Apologies all, but I'm afraid I must retire early. Should you need to get in touch, you can always wire me at Hotel España or simply stop by. Room 411.
All right.
Come along, Louis. I'm tired.
As Larkin moves toward the exit, Jesse's keeping a close eye on Mendoza as he collects the artifacts and is packing his pipe with fresh tobacco. He starts with the pendant, folds it up in the cloth, and then moves to the chalice in front of you, Leslie. He swipes it from in front of you and kind of shakes out the last few drops of beer that are still left in it, kind of like eyeing you coldly down his nose. And he packs it up and gives you a final before quickening his pace to catch up with Larkin, who stops at the top of the stairs and looks back at all of you.
I must say, I'm very glad you're all finally here. Dinner and drinks are on me. Until next time, good evening, everyone.
And he pulls out his billfold and goes up to the bar to pay. And they're gone.
What do we do now?
Should we retire for the night?
I really should retire to my room. Come, Bernard.
A few moments after the doors close, Jesse strikes a match and stokes up his pipe. Well, folks, before we all wander back to our hotels and settle into bed, I gotta tell you something. See, the thing is, I haven't been entirely honest with you. I apologize for the delay and for the deception, but my name is not Jesse Hughes. It's Jackson Elias. I believe Mr. Larkin is leading us all into grave danger.
Oh, you don't say.
What are you talking about?
You see, I haven't been here for a week, like I said. I've been here for 4 months, got here in November. I was down here researching a new book. You see, that's what I do. I write. For the better part of 20 years, I've dedicated my life to infiltrating, researching, and exposing death cults from all around the world.
I've been reading your books.
And I believe I may have found one here that's inexplicably entwined with this expedition.
I absolutely love the Sons of Death, and oh my goodness, the Smoking Heart. I am absolutely fascinated with the Mayan death cults. Please, you must tell me more.
It's always good to meet a fellow enthusiast, Mr. Brock, but there's more pressing issues at the fore right now. I promise we can discuss whatever you wish about anything I've written or am researching later. Just let me get through this first.
Oh, well, very well.
I spent quite a bit of time last summer occupying various university libraries and administration buildings, researching South American folklore. It initially started as a follow-up to my first book, Skulls Along the River. It was about headhunting cults in the Amazon basin, but I kept circling around to an interesting legend localized around the highlands of Peru and Bolivia, called the Carasiri.
Fascinating. What do you know of them?
Now, according to these stories passed down in the area, the Carasiri were some sort of pale-faced men or creatures with vampiric properties, known to slaughter men and animals alike by sucking the fat from living victims. All in all, unexceptional, as far as monster myths are concerned. That is, until I started looking into recent events around the areas these stories originated, started drawing strong correlations to death cult activity. Disappearances, slaughtered herds of livestock, mutilations,
Christ.
all in and around the area around Lake Titicaca. Now, to me, the picture was clear. Some sort of death cult was operating near there. But for how long? Hard to say.
Given the history of the area and the nature of these rumors, what with the white men and all, I wouldn't be surprised to find that the cult's origins coincide with the arrival of the conquistadors in the 16th century.
As extensive as the stacks in the New York Public Library are, it's hard to track down such woefully esoteric details about crimes in a mountain village half a world away. So I packed up my things and made my way south. There was no way I was going to get the full story running an armchair expedition out of Manhattan. Soon after I arrived, my hunch proved to be a good one. The locals still fear the Carasiri. They won't venture out into the highlands beyond Puno, and if they do, they don't go alone. Half of them are so superstitious they wouldn't even let me broach the subject for fear of supernatural reprisals. But those that did told me the same thing. Stories of white men, slinking in the shadows, stealing animals, stealing people. And these people that they take, never seen again. Except one, young resident of the floating islands of the lake. Went missing last September, I believe. Was found shaking in the fetal position in a ditch outside town a month later. Rail thin from malnutrition, bearing the scars of torture. I sought her out to see the truth with my own eyes. The horrors they inflicted on her body. And she came back changed. Wouldn't speak. Shell-shocked from the horrors she'd seen, or indoctrinated by the cult. I was more sure than ever. Carasiri cult is out there. It's real.
So how does the expedition fit into all this?
Well, all the folks who would speak to me had heard a name, and they feared it. Mendoza. And I came to find a man called Mendoza in Puno last month. Everyone gave him a wide berth, let me tell you, but I could see in his eyes a mile away what I'd seen 100 times before. The malice and ill will of a deranged mind. So I followed him, here to Lima, and that's how I found Larkin and discovered his plans to journey into the highlands. This aide of his, at the very least, is a member of this cult. If not a high-ranking alderman or shaman, seeing that his name has spurred so much notoriety.
I've never met a cultist before.
I thought we were just going on an adventure. Like, going to get some gold. Meet some new people. Get paid.
I mean, do you have any proof that he's like a cultist or affiliated to some degree?
Now, I don't have concrete proof. Just a gut feeling that says I'm right to suspect him. You don't look so convinced, Mr. Lynch.
Well, I don't really have a place here. Like I'm a simple laborer. Why would he ask me to come here?
Actually, it makes perfect sense. Larkin had been trying to get locals to join his expedition for months before he put out that announcement in the press, but he couldn't find anybody willing to accompany him. So he started looking to the outside, for those who wouldn't be wise to the myths of the Karasiri. Hence, all of us here now.
That's a good point. So what's he doing?
To be honest, I think Mendoza's just using Larkin's greed and lust for wealth and fame as bait. As far as Larkin goes, I don't know if he's knowledgeable about the cult or not. Could be Mendoza just wants a guileless explorer with a bank book thick enough to exploit. Or a potential target to indoctrinate, I don't know. I've seen it before.
At the least, we should all be prepared. He said he's going to have supplies, but I suggest we all arm yourself with at least something. We need to be cautious about this.
I told them I'm a folklorist from the States. Gave them the pseudonym of Jesse Hughes in hopes of hiding my true identity and intentions. I don't think they know who I really am, but you can bet I'm happy that you're all here now. Starting to worry I'd be found out and left in an alley to rot somewhere.
But is it real? The temple?
I don't know the context to which it's involved, or if it's a pyramid like Larkin seems to believe, but cults like these, they operate on the periphery of our society. They don't really congregate where people can just pop in. So, yes, Mr. Visser, I believe there is a temple.
Oh, man, that was a lot.
You put all this on us.
I'm hearing a whole lot of I don't knows.
Kind of freaking out.
Doesn't really inspire confidence.
I know this is a lot to digest. If any of you are still unsure, I have a friend at the University of San Marcos who you might be interested in meeting. Professor Nemesio Sanchez. He's an expert on local folklore and archaeology, and Larkin turned down each of his offers to join the expedition. I'm meeting him at 2 o'clock tomorrow if any of you want to come along.
I'll think about it. That's the most I can promise right
May
now.
Eugene and I
Thank you.
accompany you? We may split off and go to the museum afterwards.
Of course, the more the merrier. I'll be outside the university at about 1:30. If you don't wish to join us, no hard feelings, but I would very much appreciate if you could maintain this ruse of mine around Larkin and Mendoza,
Sure.
at least for now.
I guess
Of course. Mum swear, I feel like a provocateur.
And if you come, I'll see you then. Elias tidies up his pipe and buttons his jacket before tipping his fedora to all of you and departing. What do you guys want to do?
I'm just heading back to my hotel, get some rest.
I'm going home.
I'm ready to retire to my room. It's been a very long traveling day.
I'm gonna sit here and drink some more. There's beer here.
Oh.
I got $10. We'll have a good time.
Brock and Eugene are going to walk back to the hotel.
While you all depart Bar Cordano, leaving Leslie behind to drink all in his lonesome, the rest of you work your way toward Hotel Mori, where Larkin has put you up for the weekend.
So as we're walking, surprisingly, Bernard seems to have taken a liking to Mr. Brock, and he's going to jump over onto your lap.
Oh, hello, Bernard.
This is amazing. Bernard doesn't take to anybody. He's extraordinary.
Wonderful animal. I absolutely love this little guy. May I hold him just for a moment longer?
Oh, of course. He does whatever he wants to do. So you go right ahead. As long as he's taking a liking to you, that's fine.
So what did you think about that back there?
What do I make of it? I think it sounds like a splendid adventure.
I don't know. I'm all for discovery, but there's something about those guys. I don't really trust them.
Well, I hope you're not throwing Mr. Elias in with them. I had to lend you some of his books. He's done a lot of great work uncovering cults.
Brought a couple guns with me. I mean,
Goodness. Do you really think it could be dangerous?
there's no harm in being prepared.
What? You're still gonna go?
Oh, most certainly.
Well, if the half man's in, then I'm in as well.
Why else are we here, right?
Listen, I didn't sign on to go infiltrate and dismantle a fucking death cult.
Well, I'm still keen to see what we can go find. I think it could very well turn out to be a grand adventure.
Listen, guys, good luck. But I'm going home. And then, Dylan, I'm just going to split off from the group and kind of go back to the harbor where my hut is.
You guys all arrive outside Hotel Mori. It's a modest affair. It's relatively narrow, but tall, at least 4 or 5 stories. You all sojourn up to your individual rooms to settle in for the night. Back at the bar, Leslie, everyone's mostly been clearing out. The bartender's actually counting tips from a cup at the end of the bar. Just various change that he's sorting through.
Does that mean closing times upon us?
Si, senor. But I don't see why you can't have one more. And I know a few places you might be able to get another.
Can I ask you a question?
No tengo para siempre, but sí. What is it?
You ever seen those people that were in here before?
Yeah, that's that man that you were meeting, the white man, Larkin. He's come in a few times in the last 2 weeks or so.
Was it with the same person? That scary guy?
The taller one, Mendoza. He's come in with him too. I don't care for him very much.
Have you seen him before? Without Larkin?
No, but I have heard of him. And people talk.
And what do they say?
Well, they say that he's a ¿cómo se dice en inglés? A vampire.
Oh, shit.
Yes, see, it's crazy, but it's what I hear. But that's what people say. If I were you, I'd keep your distance. But what do I know? I don't know him personally. He's never caused any trouble or anything, but I do not trust him. No one here does. So I'm going to assume that from what you said before, that you want to keep drinking tonight.
Yes!
Okay. In that case, why don't you give me an intelligence roll to see how much of this conversation you remember after your bender tonight?
Yeah, I got an 85.
Oh my god, skin of your teeth, dude. Okay. So the bartender directs you to another bar that's open later, and another, and another. And the more drinks you get under your belt, the more your original conversation with him starts to go a little bit foggy. But on your way back to the docks, as you're kind of staggering through the streets of Lima long after hours, the word vampire floats across your mind, searching for something to connect with. And then you think of Mendoza, and then you think vampire. Mendoza, vampire, Mendoza, bats, Dracula, vampire, Mr. Vampire, Dracula, Mendoza.
Oh my god, that imagery.
That's about all you can remember. You don't remember the context to which the bartender explained it before. So after most of these establishments close, Leslie, give me a constitution roll, actually. I want to see how drunk you are.
Alright. Constitution. 20.
So you're holding your liquor pretty well, but as you're walking toward the docks, you start to realize that you don't even know if the boat is here.
I could. Is it this way?
And then Leslie keeps walking through the streets, wondering where the hell he parked his boat. Leslie sees this drunk guy leaning up against a house, and he goes and tries to talk to him.
Hey, mister, have you seen a boat? It's got a turtle on it.
He drunkenly kind of turns towards you and, like, grunts, and you see that he's, like, urinating all over the wall of a building right there. Malditos extrañeros. And he kind of, like, motions with his hand, like he's pushing you away, and starts staggering down the street away from you.
Leslie stumbles away from him, and then he suddenly gets the intuition that the water's probably downhill somewhere. So he just walks until he reaches the water.
Across town, Roger, you're nearing the port in the pier where your shack is. It's about the size of maybe a tool shed, maybe a little bit bigger with the sheet metal roof and a nice gate that you keep chained up. It's well and dark at this point, and you've regained your sobriety. The kind of drunken swagger that you had earlier is kind of leveled out, and you're just enjoying the night. It's nice and quiet. There's nobody loading up any ships or anything like that. The call of the gulls is kind of soothing. But you do notice as you approach your shack that the lights are on inside.
Interesting. Well, I guess I'll go find out what that's all about. I'm going to... I have a knife strapped to my right thigh. I'm going to pull that out.
Okay, so as you are preparing for the worst, why don't you give me a stealth roll?
I got a 36.
Okay, so you make too much noise. You know that there's no way that whoever is inside, there's no way they didn't hear it.
All right, so Dylan, so as quick as I can, I'm going to unchain and open the door in order to kind of catch whoever it is in the act.
So you whip open the door as fast as you can and startle a small Peruvian girl who's standing in the middle of your workshop, brandishing a screwdriver. And she kind of like leaps back in like fright, eyes like wide, staring at you, and then she gets a little bit more comforted at your sight and just goes,
"Oh, Anna, what are you doing here?"
I thought you'd be out drinking.
I was, yeah. How did you even get in here?
Her eyes drift to the false floorboards where you keep your stash.
I gotta cement that up.
But then I wouldn't be able to get in.
Yeah, that's the notion. What is it you need?
Our fan was broken. I tried to fix it, like you showed me, but Papa, you know how.
Yeah, I know how he is. Alright, well, okay, so he goes and I start rummaging through the, I take the screwdriver from her because she has a Phillips head and it's not a Phillips head fucking screw. So I go and I grab her like a longer flathead screwdriver because she's gonna need it. So I hand that to her and go, this is what you need. Take this one, you got 4 screws on the top of it.
Yeah.
You screw those down, just like I showed you last time.
I remember.
Good. Good. But, Anna, since you're here, I guess I should probably talk to you about something. Yeah, here, sit down for me. Roger's just going to sit down in the chair right in front of his workbench.
Is something wrong?
Well, nothing's wrong, per se. I mean, it all depends on what happens. But I might be going away for a little bit. Not permanently, necessarily. But I might be gone for a little bit, so I'm going to need you to watch my workshop here. Okay? While I'm gone, can you do that for me?
How long will you be gone?
Well, sweetie, right now, I mean, I don't know. I could be upwards to like around a month. To be honest, I mean, it's kind of a distance there and a distance back.
Can I borrow some of your tools while you're gone?
Yeah, whatever you want. I'm going to leave the key in our hiding spot so you don't have to crawl in here. Okay? Remember our hiding spot?
She nods her head vigorously.
Yeah. I'll leave the key there for you when I leave, or I'm leaving on Monday. But I need some time to prepare this weekend for what I got to do. But I promise I'll see you before I go, okay?
She's not really looking at you right now. She's staring at her feet as she swings them back and forth, sitting on the end of your cot.
You okay? You hear me? Okay. You need anything else while you're here? Before I go to bed?
Her shoulders kind of tense, and she leans her head to one side and kind of looks away from you. It's a look that you know pretty well. This happens about once a week. It usually precedes her admitting that her father drank up all their food money and their cupboards are kind of bare.
Your dad home right now, or did he? I guess I can surmise he's probably out and about.
I hid the bottles. He almost didn't this time.
Yeah. All right. Well, here, let me see if I can get you something to eat here. I'll throw her an MRE. I got a small box of those, and I can go into like my little Foot Locker and I try to find if I have any cash in there that I could maybe give her to get some food.
There's a few soul and loose change clattering around the bottom.
So I take that and I give it to her and I go, here, buy some food for tomorrow. Okay, if I get a chance, maybe I'll stop by and go shopping or something.
She's standing there holding the screwdriver and the tools that you let her borrow and the food and the money, and she kind of slowly walks toward the door and then hesitates at the last minute, runs back to you and throws her arms around you.
Yeah. You have a good night, okay?
Bye, Roger.
I go back outside and grab my walking stick. I'm trying to be thorough with you, this guy.
No, that's smart. I try to keep track of what you guys do with your stuff so I can use it against you later. Anyway, as you settle in for the night, across town at the Hotel Mori, Camilla, you've been enjoying the hotel's new amenities. Looks like it was recently refurbished and got fresh running water and everything like that. You're about to slip into bed when there's a knock at the door, and a slip of paper slides under the gap. It appears to be a telegram receipt. Though it is not in your father's hand, it is in his tone. If you are not home in 2 weeks' time, consider our trust ended. Stop. I've sent someone to collect you. Stop. Quit this foolishness. Stop.
As soon as I finish reading it, I go back into the bathroom where there's a candle lit and I light it on fire.
As the ashes of your father's missive smolder in the wastebasket, you start to wonder who he might have sent for you and when they might come. A few rooms over, Benjamin Brock is sitting on his bed, and there's a bunch of open books surrounding him. Eugene is packing your clothes into a wardrobe, trying to make the room look nice.
Eugene, have you found Skulls Along the River yet? I wanted to skim through that again before we meet Mr. Elias tomorrow.
And which one?
Skulls Along the River.
Nah, I ain't found it yet.
I know we brought it with us.
Listen, kid, we gotta do this right now.
What are your thoughts on all of this?
Nah, I don't want to get you all worried, Benji. It all seems a little dangerous.
You know, we're absolutely going on this expedition with them, right? I don't care if there's a cult involved. In fact, all the better. It's about time I got out into the world, despite what they think.
I don't know what you want me to tell you, Benji. You keep fishing. They ain't happy you're down here.
Oh, they have no say in the matter. Besides, it'll be good to prove them wrong. Prove everyone wrong. I really do like that Leslie fellow. He's very amusing. And Camilla's mink. That is the finest pet I have ever seen.
She's a real looker, you know.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
You got lenses the size of a fucking telescope and you couldn't see that?
I'm sorry, Eugene. My thoughts were elsewhere.
Yeah, well, it's elsewhere quite a lot.
Never mind you.
I ain't kidding. She really is. You ought to pay attention to what's right in front of you sometimes, kid. Skulls along the river.
Yes!
It sounds kind of fucked up. Don't stay up all night. We got shit to do tomorrow. I'm gonna go draw a bath. Don't get excited. It's not for you. It was a long fucking boat ride.
I don't know. My stateroom was quite comfortable.
A few doors down is John Michael Stevens' room. What are you up to, John?
So I walk over to the window, trying to just kind of unwind. I know I can't sleep already. I open it up and feel a nice fresh breeze come in, and just take a nice little puff out of my pipe and just try to relax, take a little sip of my bourbon, just try to look out at the city, observe, kind of just reflecting on the day. I sit down at the table, which is kind of by the door. I'm just kind of sitting down, just kind of taking notes of just what I've seen and who I've met and the experiences, the people, the atmosphere itself, and just trying to document what's going on, basically. Before I'm going to try to fall asleep.
Leslie, you drunkenly swagger up to the docks.
So Leslie stumbles into the harbor, and he looks out over the water and just sees masts and like just sails sticking up out of the water, and he's like squinting as he's having trouble staying on his own 2 feet, so he keeps leaning to the left and then catching himself when he goes to like tip over, and he's trying to find his boat as he's searching the horizon. Where's the fucking boat? Boris, is that my boat? It's not my boat. And he just like starts stumbling through the harbor, walking through dock to dock, just squinting at each boat, hollering for the turtle.
Roger, this shouting wakes you from your slumber.
Oh my god. So Roger gets up and he tries to listen more closely to what it is. Oh my god. I kind of get dressed like begrudgingly because it's clearly not going to stop until he gets to where he's got to go. I go into my bag and I take out what appears to be a harpoon head. And I go to my walking stick, I unscrew the top of it, where the stick part was, and I screw in the harpoon. Just in case there's something out here that I don't like. I go out and try to follow the noise.
Yeah, you find him pretty easily, kind of wandering into the part of the harbor where they load up all the big cargo ships.
So as he's swaying back and forth down a pier, I walk up behind him. Leslie? Oh shit! Sorry, I mean it's scary. It's dark out.
Hey man, it's you. You're the guy.
Yeah, I'm one of them. That's for sure. What are you looking for?
What you got in your hand? You going fishing?
I could, yeah, but I just
can I go?
No, we're not going now.
Well, I thought you said
I said we could go fishing. Maybe tomorrow we'll go fishing.
Do you want to?
Yes, I think tomorrow we should go fishing. That's how it starts.
I use that. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Well, no, this is mine.
If you have another one,
do you need another one? I probably could.
Well, how am I supposed to? You got that the whole time. You're not sharing.
What are you looking for out here?
Well, I was looking for my boat, but now I was thinking maybe I should find another bar before I find another boat.
It's getting closer to midnight. I think after today's frivolities, it's best that you just find a place to sleep. And you said do you sleep on your boat?
Sometimes, yeah, when I need to.
Well, do you think now is a time you might need to?
Well, I gotta find it first.
Well, then what does your boat look like? Maybe I can help you find it.
Well, it looks like a boat. It's a Black Star.
It's called the Black Star? Boris is on it. All right. Is that what you were yelling? Was Boris?
He's my turtle.
All right, so do I help him try to find his boat?
Yeah, you know this area well. It would probably be where all the smaller vessels are moored, like the fishing boats. It doesn't take you very long to find it when you head that direction. You see a small, kind of mid to short-range trawler. It's black, and on the stern, you see the peeling gold letters, Black Star.
All right, I found it.
Right, yeah, there it is. Roger. Just wait here a minute. Just give me. I think I got something inside. It's like a little. That's it. Big. It should be a big bottle, actually. Bottle of something.
The main deck is loaded with crates, and among them, kind of hiding under the fishing nets, emerging slowly, is a gigantic tortoise.
Oh man! I'm guessing that's Boris, Leslie.
And Leslie goes inside the cabin and comes out with a dusty bottle of whiskey
in one glass.
I pour him a little bit of whiskey in the glass and I hand it to him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna drink now. I'm not gonna. It's
Cheers.
late.
And I hold up the bottle to him.
God, I'll have one.
So how'd you find us? How'd you find the group?
I saw an ad in the paper that mentioned kind of big money for just basically being a tour guide to an expedition. So, a letter in the mail. It was kind of more like a knock on the door, really.
It's kind of strange.
Yeah, I know.
No, just think of it. Somebody kind of knocked on the boat.
Really? You just happened to be here and they knocked on your boat?
Right.
What were you doing here before that?
I don't know what's here. He's the one who drives the boat. Well, it's technically kind of his boat.
Oh, okay, well, that sounds
So
frustrating.
you live here?
Yeah. Yeah. There's something.
You live in the dock?
Yeah, I live at the top part of the dock up there. I help him out around here, fix things for him.
So what are you thinking about the adventure? Are you gonna do it?
I don't know. I might have to. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We gotta figure out more about this guy, this Larkin character, and the Mendoza fellow.
Right. You mean the vampire?
What'd you say?
Well, you said Mendoza, and I said vampire. Why am I saying?
Leslie, I think you've had enough, and I'm gonna take the bottle from him.
Right. Hey, what was it? You don't tell me when I've had enough. And then Leslie reaches for the bottle as Roger takes it from him, and he spins in his hammock and then falls down with his legs still tied up in the hammock, and he just falls asleep like that. Boris, bring me a blanket. Boris, where's Anna?
All right, I'm just gonna cork the bottle and leave it where he can find it, and I'm gonna leave him sleeping there, I guess, and just go home. Then as Roger's leaving, he mutters, "Vampires, what is with this guy?" He just kind of walks away.
It doesn't take you long to get back to your shack, and the walk itself is relatively uneventful.
All right, Roger gets back to his place, and as he's kind of undressing to go to bed, the letter inside of his coat pocket falls out, which he kind of forgot about through the whole night. He's just been bombarded with a bunch of what he believes to be ridiculousness. So he grabs the letter and picks it up, and he lays in bed and just rereads the letter. And it kind of provides him with this sense of direction, really, at this point. Like, he realizes he has to go. This might be his only chance to actually get off the spiral he's been on for so long. If it ends up being a farce, then hey, all the better. No one gets hurt, he can still get paid. As he's reading it, he kind of dozes off and passes out with the letter on his chest.
March 19th blooms bright and clear, and the city wakes early. Camilla, you wake to Bernard slumbering softly in a curl of fur and whiskers on the pillow beside you. What would you like to do today?
Is there surrounding area around the hotel where I could maybe walk around, maybe find a little marketplace or something?
Yeah, there's plenty of space for that out here. A leisurely 15-minute walk finds you at the mouth of an outdoor market. Vendors fill a small, cobbled street with stalls ranging from fresh fruit, cuts of beef, plucked chickens, and fresh and cleaned fish. A stand near you has the freshest strawberries you've seen in over 9 months. Bernard, who, as always, is free to roam, scampers off your shoulder, scuttles toward a fisherman's stall, and tries to climb a rack where he has fish laid out. The fruit vendor smiles broadly at you and proffers a basket of strawberries free to taste. While you're distracted, Bernard has done a little fishing of his own, and he drops a plump fish off of that guy's rack and jumps down onto the street and starts devouring it.
I'm preoccupied with strawberries at the moment. They're just so delicious. I don't even notice him going for the fish, even though that's what I would expect.
She smiles and nods and gestures to more fruit and says,
Ven, tengo más que solo estos. Mira, more.
Oh, they look fantastic. Yes, I'll take a basket, thank you. My Bernard loves them, and then I turn and I realize he's gone.
The fisherman doesn't seem to notice. The brim of his hat is dipped below his eyes, and his feet are propped up on the back of his stall.
All right, I'm gonna quickly pay the strawberry vendor and take my strawberries and run over there to the fish vendor.
You pluck Bernard up, and you hear him make a little... And the fisherman, he hears you approaching, and he tips his hat up with his finger.
Buenos días, señorita.
Now that I have Bernard, I want to approach the fisherman and I want to pay for the fish and try and initiate a conversation.
He squints at you and notices that your fur collar is actually a living thing and is clutching one of his fish. And his feet fall from the stand and he leaps up quicker than you imagined he could.
¿Qué demonios es eso? Are you going to pay for this?
I'm really sorry here. My friend took a liking to your fish. I'd like to pay for it. I don't know how much it costs, so I'll overpay. But I'll put if it was $5, I'll put like a 20 in his hand.
When he sees you flash that much money, his eyes kind of go wide, and he hesitates, but swipes it all from you when you offer it.
And then I just wanted to ask you, do you know Augustus Larkin by chance?
¿Quién? No, I don't think so.
Okay. Oh, no, that's fine. You wouldn't then happen to know anybody by the name of De Mendoza, would you?
He flushes somewhat and begins shaking his head.
No, please make way for the customers.
There's no one waiting.
I didn't mean to upset you, sir. I was just wondering.
He realizes that you're not going to stop. He shakes his head, breaks all eye contact with you, and he swipes his hat off of his head. He points at you with kind of a crooked, shaking finger and looks at everyone else in the street and then starts yelling.
Ella habla de que eres Siri. No confíes en ella. Ella podría ser una de ellas. No esté aquí. No confíes en ella.
The other vendors are staring in your direction. Even some of the locals are pointing at you and whispering.
I'm kind of just trying to process. I think we better go, Bernard. I think we better go. And I exit the marketplace. I don't want to draw any more attention to myself.
John, you've woken up. What would you like to do?
All right, I'll get up and I'll try to go ask to find out where a gun store is or a supply store.
The concierge at the hotel directs you to a nearby general store that's known for carrying supplies that you're looking for. It's about a 10-minute walk from Hotel Mori.
I'll just make the walk.
It doesn't take long for you to find it. It's a smallish shop called La Cortina, filled with various sundries. There's a middle-aged man working the counter when you walk in. He's got black hair, kind of streaked with gray right above the ears. And he looks up and he says, welcome, friend.
So I'll approach the man. Excuse me, sir, I'm looking for some supplies. Can you help me?
Of course, what do you need?
I need some firearms. Do you have any pistols?
One moment. He retrieves a gun case from under the counter and opens it up. There's only a few handguns inside, mostly used service revolvers. But there's also a shotgun. They all appear to be in decent condition. Not many in the market for these right now. What do you need them for?
Hunting, actually. There's some geese around here I've heard some pretty incredible things about. I want to take them down.
He raises an eyebrow at you, clearly not believing your excuse, and you see a kind of smile crack onto his lips.
Oh, these guns? These are actually for poachers. I've heard some pretty crazy things about them out there, so can't be too careful. You know what I mean? I actually have a guide. He told me it was somewhere around here, I think. He mentioned the Andes. Really excited to check it out.
So can I get 2 of these revolvers and that shotgun as well, sir?
He lets you select the 2 that you like and latches the case when you're done, setting the guns aside for you. I don't have much in the way of ammunition, but I assume you'll be wanting some of that too.
Maybe 20 shotgun shells and then maybe 50 revolver rounds.
I can provide the shells. but I don't have that much for the revolvers. Expecting a shipment Monday morning. Probably 8:30 and 9.
Okay, I can maybe stop by then, but how many revolver rounds do you have?
For this caliber, just one box.
Okay, then I'll take that box as well.
I could use some rope, maybe 10, 15 feet. If you have a tent that I can set up, that's pretty easy to set up, that would be great too. And, now that I think about it, a first aid kit would actually be perfect.
Larkin supplies aren't good enough.
He points down a narrow hallway where you can see some camping gear. As you pile it all on the counter, he looks it over. And you said you have a guide.
Yes, I have a guy, Mr. Mendoza. You ever heard of the man?
It's kind of a common name, no?
He's a thin man, very quiet, very standoffish, white man.
I don't know anyone by that name, certainly no one good, but I do know very many reliable guides who might be able to help you out. They know the Andes like the back of their hands.
No, it's okay. I already have a guide, and I'm very experienced in traveling that.
He starts writing out a receipt for you.
Excuse me, sir. If you don't mind, could you put the guns on a separate receipt? I really don't want them to be tied together.
He pauses, nods, tears off the receipt he was writing out, throws it away, and starts writing 2 new ones up for you. See, of course. Keeping them off the books. You swear you catch him winking at you. Again, we're expecting another shipment this Monday. Feel free to stop back into La Cortina anytime.
Gracias, señor. Maybe I'll try to head to get something to eat, and then try to, after that, go to the meeting.
Meanwhile, across town at the bustling harbor, Leslie, in your hammock, you are roughly shaken awake by someone. Les, get up, you drunkie. We're supposed to be out cash hunting, but I see that's not the case here.
I was out. I was talking with my friends. So, just gonna brace you for this. Guess who got $10 last night?
$10.
That's right.
All right, $10. That puts us right on track to paying off Archer. I'm astounded. Simply flabbergasted. You've really outdone yourself, Brew. I can't believe you've cobbled together that much this quickly.
Well, where's your $10 at? How much money did you get last night?
He's shaking his head, and then he marches into the cabin of the Black Star and shuffles around the main desk through a bunch of ocean charts and stuff until he finds a lockbox. And he comes over to you, he unlatches it, and shows you how bare it is. There's only like a few scraps of paper money inside. This is all we have. What we recovered from that wreck is barely enough to cover our petrol costs. And I've got to square things with Archer. That means money. Now, you said you could do this, and I need to know, can you really? Because, Les, if you can't, I need to know right now.
Yeah, of course. I mean, who do you think you're talking to, Arno?
I don't want to be a smuggler forever. Do you?
I just dive. You know this. Not a smuggler.
We've never agreed on the terminology. Sure, you're not a smuggler, but I damn well am, and that's how you get paid. I'm sorry, it's how I run business, and I know you've got fed off it, so you're gonna shut your mouth and listen to me.
Arno? Breakfast.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, let's do that first.
I am a bit peckish. I think if you got that $10.
What do you mean? It's my $10.
You've got to be kidding me, bro.
Yeah, it's my $10. You're the one talking about me bottom feeding off of you like I'm some barnacle on the bottom of your boat, right? Yeah, Mr. Moneybags, you better buy me breakfast. And then after that, Leslie and Arno keep, bumbling through the streets, bickering at each other until they get to the first cheapest restaurant that they see.
On your guys' way to breakfast down the docks, you pass a shack that seems very familiar, but you don't recognize it. And inside, Roger, you are waking up.
Alright. Slightly hungover from the previous night, but not bad, just, he knows he's been drinking. He gets up and says, well, I guess I'm going to go for a wash to start the day. So he's got this little carrier with him, full of just got soap in it, basically. And there's this rock that's like further out, past the pier. I swim out there and I swim back. I feel good. I go, walk to my little fishing hole, which isn't that far. I'd get my harpoon, I attach the harpoon at the top, And I kind of wade in the water a little bit.
You see some fish basking in the shallows near a rock.
I'd like to attempt to harpoon this fish.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a harpoon roll for that. Fighting harpoon, technically, I guess.
All right. So I got a 40 out of this one.
You skewer it with ease and yank it out of the water, and it's wriggling in desperation, but alas, your harpoon is barbed, and it's just a fish.
Yes. Breakfast. And then I leave it on there, because I'm just going to go home, because I've got stuff at home to cook it with.
Okay, cool. So, back at Hotel Mori, Benjamin, you're sitting in bed, surrounded by books, and Eugene enters, pushing a room service cart, topped with silver platters of eggs, fruit, bacon and sausage, milk, juice, coffee, the works. Looks like enough to feed everyone who was at dinner last night.
I do assume that some of this is for you. You know I can't eat that much, right?
Hey, you know it. And he starts shoveling scrambled eggs onto an empty plate for himself. He sets the plate aside and does one up for you, Benjamin, a bit more modest. And he puts this plate on a tray for you, brings the tray over and sets it on top of one of the books that you were reading.
Eugene, I was reading that.
Jeez, kid, I'm sorry.
Thanks. I'm gonna continue reading. Leaning on my fist and idly poking at a grapefruit.
You shouldn't stay up so late reading, Benji. You know, I went for a walk this morning. It was so damn fresh. Yeah, you would have loved it.
We're here until Monday. There's plenty of time for that. Oh, goodness, what time is it? I don't want to be late for that meeting with Elias and Professor Sanchez.
Hey, calm down, kid. We still got a few hours left.
I wonder if he would autograph my copies of his books.
Yeah, he seemed friendly enough. Don't you think that's kind of odd? You know, can't you just talk to the guy?
I'm gonna take them along with us.
No, I ain't carrying you and all your junk to the university, that's for sure.
Well, I'm gonna take the books anyway. I'm gonna bring them with me myself, if I have to. And so I'll scoot around the room on my arms and start packing them up.
Leslie, you and Arno stopped in a quaint cafe near the harbor, and he's up at the counter ordering something. Hey, Brute, do you want some coffee?
You know, some coffee. You always order coffee without me, and then you just get coffee and drink it by yourself, and then you wait for me to get the cup.
So these friends of yours, who are they?
Well, I met them last night. Had a couple drinks. There was a kid with no legs.
Sounds like a fever dream. It's like a giant carrying a small man with no legs.
And then a guy told you to go fishing.
You're gonna go fishing today. Get some fish for the boat.
Listen, I kind of have to tell you something about the boat. I have to take it.
What do you mean you have to take it? Where are you taking the boat? Are we going on a dive?
Not exactly.
What do you do?
Nothing. As yet. But soon. Very soon. Today, I have to take it up to California.
Oh no. California is not... It's not that... That's pretty fucking far.
Well, we need money pretty bad, and it's become quite apparent there's none to be had here.
I got something. Besides the $10.
More? Well, I wish you'd tell me about this
You
before.
asked me about the $10, so I told you about the $10.
Well, I need to know about the money's coming in, not just the scraps you've been swiping from American tourists. When is this money coming in?
It's an expedition. Gotta go find it.
Yeah.
It's not
Okay.
like you just give your money. It's
Sure.
not like a place where people go and say, hey, I'm here for the expedition. Give me
So
money.
there's an expedition. Where?
Yeah, up. It's up. It's not in the water. That's the thing. It's up. Land.
It's either, Leslie. You shouldn't be going up, you should be going down.
The money is dive upwards.
I might be more interested, Leslie, if you told me a little more.
So there's this little bloke with no legs. He travels on the back of this big bloke with very long legs.
When's the last time you had a glass of water?
Listen, I know what I'm saying is a little bit unusual.
A lot of it.
This happened before drinks. Well, after one drink. Two. In the middle of the second drink.
How does the man with no legs factor in?
There's a bunch of blokes going up the mountain. They're going to find something, and they're going to make some money out of it. That's the deal.
How much are we talking? Enough to share with Arno. I do hope so. I've let you live on my boat for 15 years after all.
I've kept your boat afloat for 15 years, and it's part of my boat. You know, I got a little bit of ownership in it, 10%.
Its percentage is much smaller than that. It's 0.15, not 15, not 15, 0.15.
I say you leave the boat, we go up. We dive upwards, the mountains.
You want me to come with you?
Why not? We both just go get the money together, we come back, we keep our boat, we go dive some more, we find some great stuff, we get our name out there, and then we just drink for the rest of our lives.
I wish I had known this last night.
What did you do last night?
I might have made some promises to some people.
We cannot make promises to people.
You can unmake promises to people. I can't do that. I did do it recently. It went very poorly. Do you remember?
Who and what?
There's these fellows I got to talking to what need me to bring some stuff from here to up there.
Like smuggling.
No, it's transporting. There's a difference.
Did they say the word smuggled?
No one said that word once. They might have said it twice, but they didn't say it once.
What about Boris? Huh? Did you ever think of him? He doesn't deserve to be dragged into the smuggling business.
Okay, first of all, he's a tortoise, not a person. We've had this conversation.
So, Otto, when are you leaving?
As soon as all the cargo's loaded. An hour, maybe less.
You flew today? When were you going to tell me?
What do you mean? I'm telling you now.
After breakfast. You couldn't have come before. That's why you're paying for breakfast, because you always have bad news. So I have to unpack right now.
Yeah, you can get it now, no big deal. But listen, Les, when you see these guys, just keep your head down. I didn't want to involve you because you're my friend, but I didn't have a choice. I need to do this. And I'll be back in 3 weeks, tops. And hey, if you can live up to your end of the deal, how's about we make that 0.15, 0.25?
We'll talk about this later.
Look, it'll be alright, bro. You'll see.
Go get the hammock, and Boris, I find a place for him to stay. And after Arno pays the bill, Leslie and Arno get up and then head back towards the boat to start packing.
It's closing in on noon at this point. What are you up to at the docks, Roger?
Right now, I am at the dock. I'm working on a crane. One of the treads got some wear and tear on it, so for the dock harbor master, rather, I am kind of doing him a favor. Kind of one of the last favors I'm expecting to do for him, where I'm kind of patching up this metal tread so that the crane can go back and forth. But as I'm working on it, I kind of like chip a tool where it's no longer really useful, but I have a spare back in my hut. So I'm just going to go back to my hut.
When you approach your hut, you find Anna inside, putting away the tools that she borrowed from you last night.
Oh, hey Anna, how you doing?
Oh, Roger. Hello. She's startled when you come in and puts her arms behind her back, and you swear you catch something in the corner of your eye. Can you give me a spot hidden? If you pass, I'll just I'll message it to you privately.
I got a 9.
I'm okay. I was just bringing back your tools.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
What are you doing?
I'm just here to get a tool. And then I notice on her right arm that up near like her bicep or shoulder area that there's appears to be some bruising. And right away, I know who did that. So I am furious, but I try not to show it to Anna. I don't want her to see that I'm overreacting in any sort of way. So I kind of just sit there and I look at her and go, Anna, what happened?
She takes a long time to meet your eye, and when she does, you can just see that they're filled with pain. He did it.
I need you to stay here right now, okay? Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Don't
okay?
hurt him.
And then I leave to go find Leslie.
Aboard the Black Star, Arno entered the cabin to talk candidly with this new client of his, Leslie, while you started packing up your stuff. Arno was kind enough to provide a small duffel bag for you and your stuff and your things. This client of his has his own men who are currently loading in large crates and several barrels onto the main deck. Boris is keeping to himself near the stern, just kind of watching. Now these guys, they look like they could be local, maybe from Central America, maybe not quite this far south. But you haven't gotten a good look at the other guy yet. Roger, you see Leslie shoving stuff into a duffel bag when you arrive.
So I kind of say to myself, like, is he going somewhere? Like, what is all this? But I push it from my mind. It's not why I'm here right now. Leslie, there you are.
Oh, hey.
As I look around, we were gonna do that fishing thing, right?
Yeah, we're still going today, right? Listen.
Yeah.
It might be a little late for that. So
that's fine.
We'll just go a little bit later.
That's what I was going to tell you.
Oh, well, fantastic. So are you here to help me move Boris?
Leslie, I got to ask you for a favor. I have something I got to go do right now, and I can't. I want to go fishing with you. I really do, but I can't. Something came up, and I was wondering if you could do me a quick favor. What are these guys putting on your boat? You know these guys don't work for the docks, right?
And spot hidden, please.
Spot hidden, rolling spot hidden. I got a 22.
When you peek through the cabin window, you see the silhouette of Gail Navarro.
Oh. My heart starts racing a little bit. Leslie, I gotta go. Thanks. I'll talk to you later. And Roger just leaves. I'm just gone.
Roger, where are you going? Roger!
Stop yelling my names!
Arno opens the cabin door. Hey, Les, you almost done packing? Oh, is this one of your friends? Gail exits the cabin and looks after Roger, trying to catch sight of him. And he glares at you, Leslie. You. What did you say? What name?
Yes, my mate Roger. He's helped me move Boris.
Cal, Nolo. Good after him. I need to know if that was who I thought it was. The gruff men nod, and they trot off the Black Star, and then work their way through the crowd in Roger's direction.
I make it back to the hut knowing the danger I just came from. Go around my hut, and I grab my essentials. I have a pack. I grab that, and then I open up the trap door. I grab this bag I have down there that's full of my savings, and just so we can get out of Lima, and I put it in my bag.
What's wrong?
Hey Anna, you know what I think we should do instead? I think you and I should go for a walk.
A walk?
Doesn't that sound good? Yeah,
okay.
It'll be a good time. Let me just grab all my stuff here. I'll take you home or somewhere else later. And then as we go, I kind of grab her, like it's kind of sweating at this point. Like now I'm getting twitchy. I close the door to the hut and I chain it up. And then as soon as I do, we go up to the docks and go on out towards the city.
You catch a glimpse of the two men who are loading the boat, following you off the docks and into the city.
So I hear them. I kind of. They're getting closer. I grab Anna, and we kind of go into like this little alleyway between these two houses, and I kind of duck behind these two crates that are there, hoping that these guys just pass.
They pause in the middle of the street and crane their heads over passing strangers looking for you. Anna shivers and hugs her knees to her chest beside you, kind of squaring her shoulders up against the crates. And I think that's where we're going to wrap up for today.
Yay, nobody died.
Damn it.
It's fun, guys. I feel bad. You all have companions. I'm all jealous. I should have thought of something. I really hope Leslie's friend doesn't leave. I like him.
There was a point when I'm like, me and Dylan should probably do this forever. And I was like, I didn't know I was going to bring something that scared the piss out of Lucas.
Yeah,
Just to see where that goes. That's why I was calling her name.
Yeah. Great.
All right, guys, that's it for our first session of Masks of Nyarlathotep. Thank you so much for letting me convince you to play this epic campaign. And make sure you keep track of all those skills that you passed checks for tonight. Because if your characters survive to the next investigator development phase, you'll have a chance to improve those for future use. And thank you for listening. We'll be back eventually with episode 2. But for now, it's time to say goodbye. So I'll show you through the creaking door out of the inner sanctum. I hope you enjoyed this gamble of ghoulish goings-on. Safe travels from the Outer Dark.